Okay, everyone. Well, that was a pleasant surprise, wasn't it? Yeah. My name is Daniel Savor. I'm with the Office of Cabinet Affairs here at the White House, and I have the unenviable task of speaking right after the president. But I was asked to speak to you today a little bit about the Affordable Care Act, so I'm just going to talk for a couple minutes because few things are more fundamental to the economic security of the middle class than health care. In the wealthiest nation on earth, no one should go broke just because they get sick. In the United States of America, health care is not a privilege for a fortunate few. It's a right. And that's why we took on a broken health care system. That's why we're going to see this work through. The first thing I want you to know about the Affordable Care Act is that it's already working for millions of Americans. The 85% of Americans who already have health insurance are now getting a better value for their dollar, have access to preventive care with no copays, and are saving money on prescription drugs through the Medicare Part D donut hole. And 3.1 million Americans, as the President said, are already able to stay on their parents' plan. I think that's just a wonderful benefit for our young people in this country. The second thing to know is that 5 days from now, on October 1st, millions of Americans who don't have health insurance because they've been priced out of the market or denied access completely are finally going to be able to buy quality, affordable health insurance. There's now a simple way to get health insurance that fits your needs, your lifestyle, and your budget at any income level. All you have to do is go to healthcare.gov or cuidadodesalud.gov. It's sort of like Kayak, just like you'd buy an airplane ticket. And in many states, premiums are dropping, often substantially. And for people with the lowest income levels, coverage will be completely free. Last week, HHS released a new report showing that 6 in 10 uninsured Americans will qualify for health plans that cost $100 per person per month or less on the new health insurance marketplaces. And we know that a lot of people need information about the law and the new marketplace. They want to know where to get it. Healthcare.gov is that resource, but we can't do this alone here at the White House. We need your help. Send your families, your friends, your partners, members, customers, children, parents, schools, churches to learn more about the marketplace and get coverage at healthcare.gov. Now it's my honor to introduce to you our wonderful Secretary of Labor, Tom Perez, who's been doing a tremendous job in his first few weeks on the job as Secretary, as being a champion for workers' rights, talking to folks about the ACA around the country, and doing the important work of the Department of Labor, helping build ladders of opportunity for everyone who's got the drive and ambition to climb them. So with no further ado, Secretary Perez, thank you.
Good afternoon. How's everyone doing today? Yeah, so you're going to go home tonight, you're going to say, what did you do with your day today? It isn't going to be, I saw Tom Perez, okay? I'm well aware of that. You know, I'm a baseball fan. I was watching the festivities recently for Mariano Rivera, and I was thinking to myself, who's going to follow Mariano Rivera, and how will that feel? Well, I have a better sense of how that feels right now, people, because I get to follow a heck of a starter and a heck of a closer in our president. And so it really is an honor to be here with all of you. And I know there's a lot of local elected officials here, a lot of state folks, a lot of folks from private nonprofits, a lot of folks from the business community. And I want to say thank you to all of you, because the most important thing we do here is partnership and facilitate those partnerships. We've done a lot of work, for instance, with Jamba Juice through our summer job program, and since 2010, I believe over 10,000 young people have been put to work by one company alone. That's a remarkable investment and deserves a big hand. So thank you so much. And you know, we have this thing called the Job Corps. I know Karen knows it very well from Baltimore City, and there's one in Treasure Island. Right outside the Bay Area there. You cross the bridge, you see Treasure Island, and they're putting people to work with Jamba Juice, not only working at, you know, getting the very berry, but also understanding what it is to work your way up the corporate ladder. Now, I've been sitting right over there in the second row, and what I've been doing, in addition to watching the president, is watching the four of you there. And what I see in your faces is determination. I see stick-to-itiveness. I see in your eyes, you know, you're sitting here watching the president, and you're saying to yourself, you know what, I can be that person down the road. And that's exactly what we want. because you are inspiring all of us in here. And the corporate partners inspire all of us by facilitating these opportunities. And our state and local partners inspire all of us by facilitating these opportunities. And our nonprofit leaders like Dorothy and so many others who've been at this their whole lives, they inspire us by facilitating these partnerships. My two least favorite words in the English language are soft skills. You know what? You know why? Because people say, you know, that's a soft skill. Soft implies that it doesn't matter. You know, every employer I talk to, and I've had the privilege of talking to a lot of CEOs, and they tell me, you know, I ask them, what do you need in a worker? And they tell me, you know what, I don't necessarily need someone who knows how to make my widget. You know, I can teach them how to make that widget. If they have the basic aptitude, I can teach them how to make that widget. But I need somebody who understands how to work in a team. I need someone who understands that if the hours are from 7 to 3, it's not 7-ish. You know? It's you get there at 6:45. I need someone who can understand discipline and working with others and plays well with others. You know, when we did preschool, you know, that grade, they'd come back and tell you, you know, your daughter doesn't play well with others. We got to work on that. Well, they do that in the workplace. Those are what we often call soft skills. Eliminate that word from the lexicon because those are the essential skills. And the programs that you have been facilitating have enabled kids not only to make money, not only to learn some skills, but also to develop these essential skills. And those are the skills that are going to help you throughout your life. They're going to help you in school. They're going to help you in relationships. They're going to help you in the workplace. They're going to help you, in short, everywhere. And we have a number of folks. I had all these other remarks, but let's face it. You met the president. There's nothing else I can say. And so I'm going to stop right there because you know what I want to do for the rest of this is I want to hear from other folks. And, you know, I do remember, Valerie said before, what was your first job? You know, I had a number of jobs as a teenager because I was 12 years old when my dad died. And, you know, we weren't going hungry. Thank God, but, you know, times got tough. And so I had a few paper routes. I worked at Sears. I worked on the back of a trash truck. I picked up golf balls. I delivered pharmacy supplies to people who were homebound. And you know what? In every one of those jobs, I loved getting a paycheck. You know, there was something proud about getting that paycheck and being able to help finance my college education. And when you have skin in the game, it's that much more meaningful. And the folks I'm about to introduce have spent a lot of time helping to facilitate opportunities for people like our awardees. And so I want to introduce them and invite them up. John Hogan, the CEO and founder of Teen Force. Gerald Chertavian, did I pronounce that right, Mr. Chertavian? Am I close enough? Very close. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Depending on where I am in the United States, I'm Perez or Perez. So I do appreciate your flexibility. Jeff Tollefson, the executive director of Genesis in Twin Cities. I'll be in the Twin Cities next week. Stacy Holland, who was introduced before from Philly, president of the Philly Youth Network. And Lizbeth Shepard, executive director, Green City Force, Brooklyn, New York. So what I want to do is invite each of you, and if we're going to try and keep on a schedule, we're going to put these identifiers there so everyone will remember. We don't want to give people a quiz at the end of this, but we'll put those there. And I would invite each of you, if you could take maybe 2 to 3 minutes to introduce yourselves and talk about what you do, how you've managed to thrive and become really a champion of change and an agent of change for so many folks in your community. So perhaps we'll just go left to right, if that's okay, or right to left. And we'll start with Mr. Hogan.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. It's an honor to be here. Everyone at Teen Force is incredibly appreciative of the President's support in creating jobs for youth. It makes a difficult job easier. The Teen Force idea was just born from an observation, just a gut feel that young people aren't working like they used to, and that the processes weren't really in place to engage them. They just weren't youth-friendly. As I was formulating a a business model. We wanted to come up with something that addressed both social and business problems. We wanted to solve the crisis in youth employment, and particularly outcomes for youth in the foster care system, who frequently battle challenges with unemployment, incarceration, and homelessness. At the same time, businesses need talent, but don't feel that young people are prepared and motivated. And the result was youth are being disenfranchised from the job market. The Teen Force solution sits at the intersection of these problems by offering a new approach that serves both the heart and the head. Our hearts know that it's important to support our most vulnerable youth and that work is meaningful to their self-esteem and their financial future. Our heads tell us that disconnected youth are costing $250 billion a year in lost wages and social services costs. What an opportunity to turn these costs into tax revenue while helping these youth become successful. How do we do it? Well, Teen Force is a social enterprise. We use a proven staffing agency model to employ youth while meeting the needs of business. We hire and prepare and place youth in entry-level jobs, and we support their success every step of the way. Businesses reimburse us for the wages and our services. We make sure that we're meeting the needs of both the business and our young workers. The youth have value and will do a great job when presented with the right opportunity. We explain to them that we're a nonprofit, we're a charity, but their work isn't charity. They need to do good work. And we make it easy and cost-effective for businesses to engage with the youth. We focus on becoming a self-sustaining nonprofit with a replicable business model that will work in other communities. The results so far have been terrific, thanks to the support of business and civic leaders in Santa Clara County. We have a strong employer base and have employed 300 youth in fields such as healthcare, technology, marketing, and mortgage. In the past year, over 60% of those youth have been from the foster care system. Our model is incredibly financially efficient. We're able to do this work. It only costs us a net $2 for every hour, youth hour worked. Comparable programs are $14 to $20. And we think we can drive ours to a break even. The opportunities ahead are really to continue to engage the private sector businesses. That's the key about hiring opportunity youth as part of workforce development. Our next steps are participating in a collective impact in Silicon Valley called the Opportunity Youth Partnership that's supported in part by the Aspen Institute's Opportunity Youth Incentive Fund. As we complete our model, we're adding mentoring, we're clarifying our funding needs, and then we think we're in a position to show other communities how to replicate. Thank you again for all your great work, and can't pass on the opportunity to shout out to my mother, my wife Lisa, and our great worker Jennifer from Teen Force. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Secretary Perez. First of all, it's an honor to be here and be on stage with such accomplished colleagues, so congratulations to you all. And really thank you to so many people who have focused on serving young people in this country. And thank you to our administration for caring so much about this issue. I had the good fortune about 13 years ago to found a program to enable low-income 18 to 24-year-olds to go from poverty to a professional career within 1 year. That's been our goal from day one. It's our goal today. In that vision for the program came out of working with low-income young adults in what was then the most heavily photographed crime scene in New York City, which I'd done every day of my weekend life, and realizing some of the most talented, hardworking young men and women I'd ever met didn't have the access and the opportunity that they deserved to gain that social mobility in this country. And that was the idea for ultimately creating what is now known as Year Up, which is a one-year program. It's divided into two 6-month parts. First 6 months, young adults come to our programs around the country. They learn professional skills or essential skills.
Thank you.
I like to think of them, Secretary, as hard and harder skills. So professional skills, and then something the market wants. It could be technical skills, financial skills, something we know there's a demand for in the economy. So they learn those skills. They're dual enrolled in college at the same time. And then they're placed into internships for 6 months with one of about 300 companies from around the country. Folks like Bank of America, who's an amazing partner for us, Salesforce, Facebook, Freddie Mac, and I will say we just got our GSA approval, which means we can sell right to the federal government if we have any buyers. Here, we are absolutely willing to take orders for some of the most talented young people we've ever seen. We started with 22 students back in 2001. We'll have served, just starting next year, about 10,000 young adults. And thank you. And certainly very fortunate to do so. We do that now in 12 cities across the country. And I'm so proud to say that 85% of our graduates earn, on average, $30,000 per year and are enrolled in college full-time. The goal now is to take this program and to actually co-locate it with community colleges, so that you come to a community college, you can join this path as well, so that community college experience is linked now to labor in a job, and really make that a seamless transition, as our president articulated just a few minutes ago. And the last thing we're doing, which is, I think, interesting, is we're launching with a group of other folks a $25 million ad campaign through the Ad Council, which many of us remember, the Smokey the Bear, Don't Light Forest Fires, a $25 million ad campaign to connect employers with opportunity youth, to provide them with internships, mentoring, and hiring, and get as many people in providing opportunity as we can in this country. It's an honor to be here, and certainly an honor to do this work, and thank you very much for being here today.
Wow, it's kind of a surreal moment for me. A real honor to be here, and I'm really humbled to be able to share a little bit about our work and to follow some of these great other leaders. Gerald Chertavian wrote a great book last year called A Year Up. I read it many times, highlighted lots of it, and we're trying to copy your success. Well done, Gerald. My name is Jeff Tollefson. I have the pleasure of serving as Executive Director of Genesis Works program in the Twin Cities. We're a nonprofit social enterprise trying to help low-income urban high school students on a path to college and career success through meaningful year-round paid internships. I'm joined here today not only by my amazing wife, Jenny, but my mom and my Aunt Nancy. And I mention my mom and Aunt Nancy because of the many gifts that they provided to me, unknowingly, I suppose, as I was a young boy growing up in rural Iowa. Gifts like love, support, a sense of optimism, a feeling that through hard work, I could pretty much do anything I wanted to. The world was my oyster. And I did end up going to college and embarked on a professional career that allowed me by age of 45 to achieve a level of financial success where I could leave the for-profit world and spend the second half of my life on this planet doing something I really love, and that's helping others, particularly urban youth that haven't had the opportunity to grow up in an environment of hope and optimism, such as what my family provided me. For those that haven't really grown up in a low-income urban neighborhood, it's hard to imagine how difficult that is. Imagine you go to a high school where nobody that you're around is planning on going to college. Many of them probably aren't going to finish high school. Your parents didn't go to college, and they have minimum wage jobs. You look downtown at these gleaming office towers, and it might as well be a postcard, because it's not your world, or so you think. It's sad to see how many of those youth that are growing up in a sense of hopelessness because they haven't been exposed to opportunity, choose less productive paths. They engage in unhealthy activities like gang violence that sadly challenges the safety and the civility of so many of our urban neighborhoods. But what if these youth had an opportunity to see a brighter future? What if they could experience what a professional job looked like while still in high school? What difference would that make? At Genesis Works, we've seen what can happen, and it's transformational. We can help urban youth move out of poverty and into our economic mainstream by providing real opportunities. It's transformational, and it's impactful, and we're so happy we can do it. We want to take them out of a sense of hopelessness that many grow up with and see the hope, the optimism, the vision for their future that I felt so fortunate to grow up with. So what is Genesis Works? Our model is really simple yet life-changing for the youth that we serve. In the summer before their senior year of high school, we train them over the course of 8 weeks in a very intensive IT and essential skills boot camp where they learn all those skills that are required for the next step of the program. And that's a paid year-long internship, where our students will typically work 1,000 hours, earning about $10,000 as seniors in high school, working in the IT departments of large corporations. As a result of experienced success in the professional workplace, their mindset changes as they see there is a place for them in the corporate world, and they choose to attend college as a result. In the 5 years since we started the program in the Twin Cities, we've now placed 588 students into paid year-long internships. Of those students that have finished our program, 97% have gone on to enroll in college. And of that 97%, 81% have either graduated or still persisting and on track to graduate. That's impact, that's real change, that's what motivates us to do more. So we're really excited. One other thing about our program is, like what John has, it's a social enterprise. We're also like an IT staffing company, and our earned income allows us to fund 94% of our operating expenses through earned income, which is, I think, a powerful model of self-sufficiency for a nonprofit. One of the things I love about our program model and many of the other programs here is that there's multiple wins in our outcomes. Truly, students are getting a life-changing opportunity as they begin to break those chains of generational poverty they're brought up in. Our businesses get cost-effective, motivated resources today while building their future workforce, one that more closely mirrors the mosaic of cultures that really comprise our urban cities today. And of course, our communities benefit the most as we begin to close those embarrassing educational achievement and economic opportunity gaps that so sadly fragment so many segments of our urban populations. We all know how empowering a job can be, and the magic that occurs when you can connect motivation with a meaningful opportunity. And by connecting youth with the right opportunities and the right support structures at the right time, we can move more students out of poverty and into the professional world. And in doing so, our communities become a better place to live and work for all. And in closing, I just want to also say that, social justice issues aside, it's not just the right thing to do, it's the smart thing to do. The future of our nation's economy really does depend on it. So thank you for this wonderful honor. Thank you for allowing me to engage in this conversation today.
I think I'm just going to have a moment of silence as I remember that I'm standing in the same place the president did. So good afternoon, I'm Stacey Holland, and I am now the former president and co-founder of the Philadelphia Youth Network. So first, let me just say that we have the best mayor in the entire country, Mayor Nutter, who has really assumed this platform of youth workforce as integral to the survival and the requirement of our region thriving, making sure that we're investing in our young people has been a tremendous honor to serve with him. And also his wife, Lisa Nutter, who is part of our coalition in Philadelphia. We really do this work because we believe that change will happen for young people in community. We believe each and every one of us that work with young people, whether it's in our capacity as nonprofit leaders or as educators or as community leaders or as advocates, that each of us, if we invest in a young person, then our future as a region will thrive because each of those young people will thrive. 14 years ago, I had the privilege to start a company, PYN, with my co-founder, Laura, who's also in the audience today. And it really started with a series of what-if statements. It started with, wow, what if there are a whole bunch of young people out there that were like me, that was kind of average academically, thrived in some other areas in leadership, but, really encountered some caring adults and some folks who challenged. me to think differently and broadly and more aspirationally. What if we actually worked with our other community partners that also believed in young people? And hey, maybe what if we actually started serving more than 10 kids? Maybe we should serve 20 kids. No, maybe we should go to 100. No, maybe 10,000. And then what would happen if we also got our friends in our employer community and got them to invest? And what if we actually matched? We said, you know, there's community-based organizations that know where the kids are. What if we actually got the employers who actually really want to give a young person a chance but don't have an infrastructure? And oh yeah, what if we actually matched them with kids? And the result of those what-if statements became 14 years later serving over 100,000 young people, leveraging millions of public and private dollars, but more importantly, we invested in our future economy by making sure young people just had a chance. One of our very first campaigns we ran with our employer community was called Who Gave You Your First Break? And we had leaders such as Mayor Nutter and other members of our corporate community kind of tell their story. And that at the core of it is really what, when we think forward with those 100,000 young people, they will be saying, well, Work Ready Philadelphia actually gave me my first break. And it was all because we asked the question, what if? So one of the messages that Philadelphia Youth Network would like to leave today with everybody is, in your community, you can ask, what if? And what if you actually took all of your assets, all of your resources, and you just believed that the young people, the person that's sitting next to you, actually deserves a chance because someone gave you a chance? And the power behind that. And I know my own story of, yes, being a kind of mediocre student, not quite getting into college, and I'm privileged to have my college mentors here with me today, along with my mom. And I remember my mentor, Mr. Boatwright, who I still call Mr. Boatwright, even though I'm in my 40s. And he was looking at my transcript and looking at me, and he's like, ooh, well, what is this? But he was like, hey, it doesn't match you, and I don't get this. But you know what? I'm going to give you a chance anyway. And it was that chance that I actually translated into a career that has been humbling, overwhelming, amazing. Obviously, if I can stand in the same place the president just stood. But more importantly, representing young people who are really going to be our future. So just in closing, you know, the charge that we should all have is everyone has a young person in their life. Just invest. And just ask the question of yourself and of them, what if? What if we had you try this? Or what if we exposed you to this? Or what if we trained you in these essential skills? That what if will definitely potentially yield our next president. Thank you.
Okay, so I have the very unenviable task of following up this incredible lineup. It is such a pleasure to be here and such an honor to be among so many allies with whom we stand shoulder to shoulder in this fight, in this endeavor to create opportunity for young adults. So I am representing Green City Force. We are based in Brooklyn. We serve young adults throughout New York City. I created Green City Force in 2009 as a model for how national service can serve as a strategy to engage young adults who have achieved their high school diploma or GED, but are unemployed or in dead-end jobs and don't have a viable next step. And so what we have done over the past 4 years is we have engaged over 140 young adults. Our focus is on young people who live in public housing, where there are often double the rates of unemployment as in more affluent communities, and where there also is a tremendous need to address issues of sustainability. And so what Green City Force does is we combine in a 6-month full-time program national service with workforce development and with targeted academics, especially around math. And we use that as a platform to enable young people to develop a passion, to work in teams, and to get experience that is relevant to high-growth fields in sustainability like energy efficiency and urban agriculture. over the years, we've developed a really unique partnership with the New York City Housing Authority, and I'm very honored to have Chairman Ria of NYCHA here today joining us. We work across departments to recruit young people and then to mobilize them on very innovative service campaigns and projects that enable them to support sustainability goals within public housing and at the same time gain experience. We also have support from the city, which is very critical, and I'm joined also today by Kristen Morse, who's out there somewhere, from the Center for Economic Opportunity. Thank you, Kristen, for being here. But I mostly want to tell you about our graduates, and I'm so pleased to call out Derica Cruikshank, who's a recent graduate of our program, who's here from the Lower East Side, and Dijon Barnes. So Derica just graduated, I think, 6 weeks ago, and during her time with Green City Force, Derica was part of a team that built the first urban farm on public housing property. So NYCHA is one of the biggest landowners in New York City, and of course we know that issues of obesity and access to healthy food are very, very important. And so we came together with partners with NYCHA and the Gardening and Greening Program, with Added Value, and then Green City Force got in the mix, and CEO kicked in some money for capital costs, and together we came together to build what has been now a model for bringing healthy food into the community in Red Hook, and at the same time creating a training experience. And so Derica, after graduating, she actually had a choice between a bunch of different jobs, but she's currently working as a compost associate, where she actually oversees another Green City Force graduate who's been working at the Lower East Side Ecology Center for the last 2.5 years. And she also, in her free time in the evenings, has another job working with the Sylvia Center as an educator. So Derica has really been able to parlay that experience into what she really sees as a career path. So I hope we get a chance to talk to her. Dijon has been working for over 2 years with Community Environmental Center, who's another Green City Force partner. Community Environmental Center has hired over 20 of our graduates. And so together, we had Dijon, when he was with Green City Force, worked alongside people who were working at CEC and modeling these careers in sustainability, and got excited about energy efficiency, and got his break through the Cool Roofs program that we were doing, where we coated and cleaned millions of square feet around the city of New York. And since being at CEC, he's worked his way through the ranks and is now actually working in the back office, where he's helping to run the energy efficiency programs. So these are just two examples of so many young people who, through Green City Force, are supporting very critical climate action goals and addressing really important issues, and their energy and their enthusiasm, their ideas are fueling these important projects, and at the same time, they're then getting on a path to their future. So we want to thank you all for your recognition for this, and this is something that we intend to grow throughout New York City, that we believe is a model that we can take to other cities as well. So we look forward to working with many of you. Thank you.
Thank you to all of our panelists for your inspiring presentations. In particular, two things. Thank you for using the term essential skills instead of soft skills. And thank you for vindicating a hypothesis I've always had, which is when I was in local government, I spent a lot of time in our public schools, and the teacher would take me in and say, oh, this is our GT class. And those are two of my least favorite words as well, as long as I'm making confessions about my least favorite words, because I always thought that every child is gifted and talented, and it was the duty of teachers, parents, communities, business leaders, and people like you to draw out those gifts and talents. And that's precisely what you do in the work that you do, is you vindicate that hypothesis. I have about 10 questions, except we only have about 5 minutes. And so I need to make a quick executive decision. And so I was going to ask 2 questions, and I was going to ask one of our first 3 panelists, so you guys can get a breather, having had to go last. And then I was going to ask 1 question of the 2 of you. And maybe we can take maybe a minute to do this. And I know in the work I've done at the Department of Labor here in the state of Maryland and in local government, engaging employers. We've had so many model employers who've done great things, many of whom are here. I've also spoken to employers who've been apprehensive about hiring workers who don't have a work history or who may have other challenges that create skepticism within an employer community. So what do you think is the most critical element to growing a pool of employers, which you've obviously been successful at doing, so that we folks here can take that to scale and learn from your experiences? I apologize for giving you only 1 minute.
No problem. Well, one of our strategies has really been to engage with the chambers of commerce. They've become great marketing partners, the San Jose Silicon Valley Chamber, and really setting goals, setting an objective. They committed to, through their membership, to generate 100 jobs for foster care youth this year. And by setting that goal and assigning it to their board and their membership, that we're able to carry that out really in our first year of a project like this. Our model sometimes makes it easier for certain employers to engage. We become the employer of record. We do the recruiting, the screening, the support to make it something that employers can manage. We've had, what works best is when employers will embrace the process and when they'll take time to learn about maybe some of the challenges that these youth have overcome. So that they can be supportive and really learn what it makes to be a true partnership. And that's when we've had the most success.
Thank you.
We work with quite a number of companies. In fact, a few here, one CVS, and those representatives from CVS, and I mentioned Bank of America. Now, what I've been inspired by is there are leaders, and there are a lot of leaders here in this country, who have asked to give a young person an opportunity and a chance. They will rise to that occasion. So we typically work at a senior level to start and say, if we can show you a source of talent, perhaps from not a traditional source, but show you a source of talent, will you allow us an opportunity for that young person to really show what they can do? And you know what? If you're not happy, kick us out. If you don't like it, that's fine. Well, the fact is 92% of those employers continue to take more students, which is how we've grown from 20 students to a few thousand, and they will then call their peers and say, we just found a new source of talent. You should try that too. So the first choice is often doing something that hasn't been done before. And we have to help, I think, our employers to redefine who's talented in this country and where talent resides in this country. If not, we will not have a skilled workforce that's globally competitive. And so I think employers understand it's in their economic self-interest. They do care about the community. I've been inspired by leaders across this country. But we have to prepare and help them find those young people and say, just give us that one chance. And then our young people, the 4 individuals sitting here today, you will do the rest. I promise you that. And that's what's happened the last 10 years at Year Up.
Thank you.
I completely agree. It all starts with success. And when we started the program 5 years ago in the Twin Cities with just 11 students, we really used the business side of our social enterprise. We went to the chief information officers of the companies that we were serving, and we were offering cost-effective resources. These were trained students, and they could be a card-carrying IT technician in their IT department doing work at a price point below what they would have to pay others. And it was through the success of those students doing wonderful work in the workplace, at the job, that allowed us to continue to build on that. And now we're able to embrace our corporate partners as true partners in the other side of our social enterprise, and that's youth development. And they see themselves now playing an important role in what we're doing to build youth into our future workforce. And that engagement of them now as a partner has made all the difference. So we started selling the work, and now we're selling the impact. And hopefully we'll continue to see corporate America embracing that in a larger way.
By the way, guys, to our winners here, what they're saying is your success at what you have done has made it easier for them to get more of you into this line of work. So you're the ones who've been winning. So Stacy and Elizabeth, let me turn to you. I always want to, when I'm participating in something like this, I want to come out and drive home or fly home or take the train home thinking, what can I do differently and better? And we've already provided a lot of food for thought. We also not only have folks here, but we have folks listening to us virtually. So my question for you is, what one or two actions can every person who's either gathered here in person or online take to ensure that more young people are connected to a good job that has a future?
I can jump in. So we are celebrating 20 years of AmeriCorps this week, and I just want to take a moment to say AmeriCorps is an incredible strategy and platform for addressing opportunity or expanding opportunity with youth. And I think that everybody can actually get involved in some way in calling for AmeriCorps to be expanded and improved. And the Franklin Project has called for a very bold vision of getting to 1 million young adults engaged in national service, notably as a pathway to be able to get onto a career. So this is something that I think we could really get behind. Employers can really see AmeriCorps as a pipeline, a preferred pipeline, in the way that perhaps, the military, employers know that somebody coming out of the military has a certain type of training. I think that if we focus our attention on this somewhat, we can really grow this as an incredible strategy.
Great. Stacy,
with
the mayor here, I want to give you the last word.
I would say three things. First, talk to your young people in your community. If you talk to them and ask them questions and find out what they're interested in. The second thing is connect. There is inevitably some service within your community that will connect to their interest. And that most likely, that's the one thing that young person needs. And because we as the adults don't spend a lot of time in talking to our teenagers, at the end of the day, those connections don't happen. And the third thing I would say is invest. That young person who you choose to talk to, connect, and then comes the responsibility of following, become that young person's caring adult, their advocate, and stay with them. I guarantee you that combination of things will produce a qualified, prepared, as well as exposed workforce for the future.
Wow. Well, let's thank the panel for inspiring presentation. Really appreciate all your time. Thank you so much. Thank you. Pleasure to meet you. That was great. Thank you so much. Thanks a million. I'll be in Minnesota next week, guys. Take care. Thank you so much.
Extraordinary, aren't they? They are absolutely extraordinary. Let's give them one more round of applause. Well, this is by no means the end of our event today. We still have a lot ahead of us. I want to go a little bit backwards in what is on your agenda and actually turn it over to the Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer of Jamba Juice, as Jamba Juice was actually my first summer job. So I'm very thrilled to introduce Bruce Schroeder, who's going to talk a little bit about why Jamba Juice does the amazing work that they do and the impact that it's had on their company and the communities where their individual stores live. So, Bruce.
Hey guys, I know I should quit while I'm ahead, right? First, I walk into the room this morning or this afternoon, and the first two people I run into, their first job was Jamba Juice. And we couldn't be more proud to have folks like Bess in the position that she's in today, having started with us back in Evanston, Illinois. So, and the second thing is that's the second presidential endorsement that we've gotten here in a while. Right? So I'm going to make sure from now on we get his protein berry workouts into the White House, since the Secret Service won't let him out to get them from us. But at any rate, I do want to take a minute to do what we do at Jamba, and that's, in a word, to give it a boost. So let's hope we can continue to boost what everybody in this room's been doing. So first of all, certainly want to recognize Valerie Jarrett's work to bring us here and her positive leadership in this effort. Second of all, Mayor Nutter, thanks for the leadership in the Conference of Mayors. I know James White has been given him the privilege of being involved in your conference calls. We've been connecting with more mayors as a result of that and trying to work in each individual city. And certainly the Department of Labor and Secretary Perez And we worked with former Secretary Solis, and this is our third year in the partnership, so we're happy to keep racking it up here. So on behalf of James White, who started all this with Secretary Solis, our 85 franchise partners and over 10,000 team members, we're honored to be a part of this, and especially with our honorees today from communities all over the country. It's a privilege for us to celebrate with them. And before I get any further, you guys right here, you have a standing offer to come to Jamba at any point you want in your careers. We'll take you on. We'd also like to applaud the mayors, county elected officials, community leaders, and countless others who aren't able to be in the room today, but who have worked tirelessly with this administration to prepare young people with the skills they need to be successful in employment. Before I get too much further, I want to pause to recognize two very important leaders. Valerie talked about the people back home, right? And certainly at Jamba, we're very proud to be here with you today. And I've got a couple of folks who are going to help me share in that pride. So first of all, Daljit Hundal is president of Jamba's Franchise Advisory Council. He sets a great example in the Jamba system by treating each of his new team members like extensions of his own family. And Daljit has played a key role over the years in helping engage and recruit other franchisees to participate in the company's Summer Jobs Plus initiative. And again, 60% of our stores are run by small business folks as our franchisees. So thank you, Daljit, for being here and continuing to support the Youth Jobs Plus effort. I'd also like to acknowledge Chris Beeson, who came out as well, and he's led both our company and now our franchise businesses at Jamba. And Chris has had a major hand. We've hired an awful lot of these folks. And Chris has been personally involved with many of them, either on the front end in selection or on the back end in development. So thanks for your hard work and dedication to making this effort work. So I thought it would be helpful to give a brief history of Jamba's partnership with the Obama administration and Youth Plus as an example of how to leverage private industry in this important work. So in the spring back in 2001, our CEO, James White, was introduced to efforts being launched by the Labor Department to encourage the private sector to step up and pledge to hire a commitment of employees each summer. So from the very beginning, James made it clear he wanted us to be the leaders. So he committed to audacious goals, and each year we've exceeded those, I'm very proud to say. So that great start was that first summer, and by the end of it, we had hired 2,500 young people to work in our locations across the country. But fortunately, that was just the beginning, and we're just starting to understand how to really put this program to work. So in early fall 2011, we were delighted to receive a call from the Secretary of Labor's office, and that she would be making a trip out to the Bay Area and wanted to visit Jamba. So, like most of you would have been, we were excited to have her as a guest and honored that a cabinet secretary would drop by our corporate headquarters. We thought she was coming out to say thanks, but little did we know she had something much bigger in mind. The secretary actually wanted to bring along 20 of her closest friends. So when I first heard this, I thought, wow, I had no idea cabinet members traveled with such a large entourage, right? And imagine if President Obama would finally come out and get a protein berry workout directly from Jamba. But to my surprise, the Secretary of Labor's entourage was made up of 15 culinary students and 5 instructors from the San Francisco Treasure Island Job Corps Center, as Secretary Perez alluded to earlier. So having the opportunity to witness firsthand the dedication and support of the Secretary that she gave to those students and hearing their passion for careers in our industry, that was very inspiring to each of us in the room. I remember James leaning over to me and saying, we got to do even more, and to which I replied, man, she's a hard person to say no to. Since the Secretary's inspiring challenges to Jamba, we've hired a total of more than 16,000 applicants for summer employment. And again, as Secretary Perez alluded to, we also have staffed over 30 internships in our corporate offices, mostly in the culinary department, to help us continue to be on the leading edge of nutrition. at Jamba Juice. So our response to the Secretary's challenge was to create our own version of Summer Youth Plus, and that's called National Jamba Jobs Day. And it's an annual youth hiring day in which we kick off each year in the spring for our peak season, and we do it out at Treasure Island at the Culinary Center in the Michelle Obama Gardens there. And it's a unique partnership between Jamba, our franchisees, and local community leaders. Each year, like I said, we set very great goals and we exceed them. And it's a great partnership because of the public relations effort to get the word out. We're able to get a tremendous amount of applicants in our stores. In fact, in several stores on Jamba Jobs Day, the line is literally out the door with quality applicants. So when people ask us, why are you committed in such a big way to the Summer Jobs Initiative, the answer is quite simple. It's really who we are at Jamba. Our corporate vision is to inspire and simplify healthy living and to strengthen the communities that we serve. Our team members help do this. They help our vision come to life in 800 stores nationwide every day by serving up great tasting, nutritious smoothies, juices, and food offerings. But that's only part of what we do. Our story at the very heart is providing the first job for many young people we hire in our stores. We get to help shape their skills at the foundation of their working career. So we take that obligation very seriously. In many cases, these students who look to their employment with Jamba to help their family make ends meet, and in some cases provide the funds to either start or go back to college. So whatever the case, we recognize that we have a responsibility to prepare and position team members to develop the tools to be successful in life. Because of this, we try very hard to provide more than just a job. In short, we work to help build important life skills. We call it ingredients for success. At Jamba, we have 4 how-tos that are a part of our youth culture, and that's what we're dedicated to. Those are how to take responsibility, how to serve customers, how to live a healthy lifestyle, and how to get involved in their communities. So to start on responsibility, one of the most rewarding things I do in my job is when I run into parents. And all the time they ask me, what did you do with my teenager? And I say, well, what do you mean? And they say, well, she's just not the same person anymore. She can get up before noon, clean her room, get a jog in occasionally, and even make herself a salad, even without being nagged. No, the Jamba journey isn't always that transformational. But it does happen in big and small ways, more than you might even imagine. Keep in mind, our average team member is just 19 years old. And even our general managers are about 30, give or take. They come to Jamba from all walks of life, diverse communities, and a broad array of family circumstances. But as they say, it's not where you're from, but it's where you're going that matters. And I think Jamba team members are on their way, thanks for the example, Bess, to some awesome places like the White House. So, take for example, Abra Teague, who was all about her customer and her service to a community. It's best to share her story in her own words. Abra just submitted for a contest in which she could win a commercial on the big game between Stanford and Cal in a few weeks. And here's what she put in. I'm a small town girl from Railroad Flat, California. I did hair, worked at Walmart and Taco Bell to support my 2 children as a single mom. In 2006, I went to work as the general manager for Jamba Juice. In 2010, I was given the opportunity to purchase my first Jamba Juice in Jackson, California. In January, I got my second location in South Lake Tahoe, and I opened my 3rd Jamba Juice in November in Carson City, Nevada. So I came from a small town with big dreams. I love what I do every day. With all my experience, I hope to share with others that anything is possible and hard work pays off. So by the way, Abra's company is called Blending Sweet Success, Inc. So she provides a poignant example of the nearly unlimited success that you can get when you put a young person next to a job opportunity. And Neighbors in good company at Jamba, because her franchise partners are folks like San Francisco 49er Vernon Davis, Olympic medalist Summer Sanders, and international Grand Slam tennis star Venus Williams, who is our partner right here, and we've just built 3 stores to make us more convenient for the president here in Washington, D.C. And by the way, they're all part of our Active Living Council, so they provide great role models, not only with their active lifestyles, but in how they all return their fame back to their communities. They embody the tenets of learn, earn, and return. So again, if you think a summer job is not enough to make a difference, think again. Whether it means taking responsibility, giving great service, building healthy habits, or getting involved in their community, the fact at Jamba Nation is that we like to think our jobs provide a means for our team members to make a difference. So beyond the numbers, each hire is a priority for us. As you can tell from our examples, we like to send them on their way with a little bit more cash in their pocket, some confidence in their head, and pride in their chest. As we look across our nation and communities where all of our honorees hail from today, and places where Jamba is trying to develop, I'm convinced now more than ever that our young people do not lack the will or the desire to gain the skills, but the opportunity to do so. So it's an honor to be with you here today to share our collective vision and collaborate on these opportunities. For that, I say to each of you, thank you, and encourage you to keep this vital work growing. You have our commitment to do so. So let's celebrate our progress and recognize together that we can be a powerful force for good. After all, our young people are counting us to give them a chance to achieve their unlimited potential. So, as we like to say at Jamba, let's truly squeeze the day.
Thank you so much, Bruce. It would only have been better if all of a sudden Jamba Juice had come from the doors for all of us. Next time. I now want to introduce a wonderful partner with the White House and with the Youth Jobs Plus program. Bo Kemp is from tweetmyjobs.com. He's the Vice President for Client Services, and he has done amazing work over the course of this year, helping specific jurisdictions put some of their jobs online and use social media to promote them. In many cases, youth jobs and summer jobs are run entirely out of filing cabinets, on paper, in offices. And Bo and the folks that he works with have helped us partner with mayors and county officials across the country to really bring that to the 21st century. And so I'll now turn it over to Bo.
We're getting to a short presentation, and I've been told to keep it short. It's just 5 or 6 pages here to give you a sense of what it is that we do. And hopefully this will serve as a takeaway for you of something that you can do and suggest to both the organizations that many of you are part of or work with in terms of companies, and for the youth to actually be engaged with. But before I get started, again, as everyone has, just thank you for the President Obama, the Obama administration, Valerie Jarrett, for the mayor of Philadelphia, Mayor Nutter, and for all of you champions of change, both the organizations and the students that are here, for giving us the humble opportunity to share with you a tool, not the only, but one tool that you can actually take away from this meeting and actually begin to use right away, and it's a free tool. So with that, let me take you through the slides that we have. Tweet My Jobs is part of a larger organization called Career Arc Group. We're based in Burbank, California. And in that, we have a couple of different businesses. Tweet My Jobs provides a platform that's a social mobile platform that allows and enables both job seekers and employers to identify one another without having to have broadband connection all the time. And as part of our family, we also have a company called CareerBeam Pro, which helps a lot of people that are in transition moving from one job into another industry. But one of our important components is something called internships.com, which is what I'd like to talk about today. And as we have gone through a good portion of the day, beginning both with the breakout sessions and now, that first job often comes in the form of an internship, sometimes paid, sometimes unpaid, and that leads to a lot of the opportunities that many of you have spoken about. So I want to take you through what the resource is for internships.com as we go forward. So you may have to click a couple of times to go through. So internships.com was launched in 2010. There are 75,000 active internships that are available on the site as we speak. There are 40,000 companies. There are 385 higher education companies that we've partnered with. And one of the things that we've done in order to get to the 5 million students that you see that's listed here is partner with a variety of different organizations, which include groups like SHRM, which is the Society of Human Resources, Nokia, Academic Partnerships, Blackboard, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. And in particular, we've tried to work with the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and organizations like that to go city by city and identify opportunities where we can help use their connections with the individual and local businesses to identify internship opportunities, list them on the platform, and then make those opportunities available to all of the students that are in the area. Likewise, partnering with the both 2- and 4-year institutions in those locales to make sure that they are spreading the word out to their base that there are opportunities online for them to connect to that are free. And of course, we've been a partner with the White House, both with the summer jobs, the youth jobs, and we've actually partnered with the White House on veteran jobs. And so thank you again for allowing us to help push this very important initiative. Most recently, we were also listed one of the Forbes top 10 career websites. Just a little bit of a commercial on that. Next slide, please. So one of the things we know is both when you look at that 16 to 24-year-old age range, it's one of those areas that's hard to both identify recruiting opportunities if you're an employer, but it's also hard if you are a youth trying to get a job. In many cases, people take the first job that's available to them, which may not be the job that best suits their skill sets. In many cases, as a younger person, you're afraid to move from one job to the next for fear that that dislocation might not be able to allow you to continue to support your family, continue to help you get through school. And so we have a substantial number of underemployed, both students and graduates. That total something in the magnitude of about 40+%. Obviously, there's a substantial unemployment rate, but the underemployment rate is as important as the unemployment rate with regards to a lot of these students. Next slide, please. The other thing we know, and this leads to a lot of the underemployment and a lot of concern, is that the time to go from one job to another has substantially increased over the course of time. The Great Recession has hit everyone, but in particular has hit youth very, very hard. And so that transition of being able to go from your first job that you may make minimum wage to a job that allows you to make $10 to go to $12 or whatever it may be is becoming much, much harder, which means that a lot of students who depend on those kind of increases take a longer period of time both between jobs, but also they don't take some of the risk in moving on to some jobs that are important. That change in jobs often adds to the skills, both the hard skills and the essential skills that were mentioned by the Cabinet Secretary before. You're missing out on those skills when you're not moving from those job opportunities, and we want to try to do something to shorten that time frame. Next slide. Now, on top of all of that, we know that a lot of the pressures that are on students have to do with student loans. And President Obama and the administration have been doing a lot to try to resolve many of those issues. It's an issue that's bigger than just what we're talking about here, but the impact is real. And it has a direct impact both on job seekers and how they look for jobs, and of course, their development path. Next slide. But here's one very important fact in getting people to a place of understanding the importance of internships. 7 out of 10 internships actually turn into full-time job opportunities. And so the degree to which we can focus on using the partner organizations who are here as champions of change and looking for ways to identify companies who are willing to engage local students in internships, whether they be paid or unpaid, that's one of the best mechanisms we have to dealing with the issues of young people, unemployment, and underemployment that we've got. So our site, again, one of many resources, but an important one we believe, is designed to do exactly that, to make it easier for companies to actually list that they've got an opportunity for an internship, and make it easier for you as students to actually identify that opportunity and find a match between those skills. One of the things that we found that is that makes many of those companies apprehensive in this process is just managing the deluge of information that comes in of students that are interested in a particular opportunity. And our system is set up to allow employers to do that in a better way, and most importantly for youth to do that. And there are many elements around how we partner and help to educate youth that help them do a better job of vetting out which of those jobs are the best opportunities. Next slide. And just to take you through, this is a static model and show you some of the elements here that are important. When a student engages in the platform, and this one happens to be a partnership with Tucson, Arizona, they're actually able to look at locations in various areas, and you can see here how it breaks out locations in and around the Tucson area. They're actually able to look at different types of employment, so whether it be full-time, part-time, paid and unpaid with for-profit or not-for-profit organizations. There's also an opportunity for you to identify if that job needs college requirements. That job may provide you college credits. And so each of these jobs are actually listed. They're coded. And there's lastly another component here where it demonstrates, based on your social network, is there someone who may work at this organization that you're interested in who already works there that could provide you a reference? And as we know, for those who actually do a network job search, the opportunity of actually getting a job goes from about 1 in 219 to about 1 in 20. It's a substantial impact on the opportunity for a lot of young people. Many young people don't think of themselves as having the network to actually conduct a network job search, but in fact they do, and we leverage their Facebook accounts, we leverage their Twitter accounts, actually to help them identify people they know who may have worked at a CVS or a Walmart or any of those companies as references to help them get those jobs. What you can't see, we won't have a chance to go through the actual site itself, but if you were to go through the area where it says resources, within that resource area, there are a variety of tools that are available for young people to help them create resumes, to help them understand many of the best practices of how you present yourself, how you can present yourself in an interview, how do you present yourself in the process of actually even asking for an application, to give them a sense of the type of job that they may be best suited for, given their interest, give them a sense of the type of industry that they may be best suited for. And all of that is free of charge. So none of this costs both the employers or the students anything to participate. It's really a service that we provide to help connect, which is why we've got 5 million students that are on the system today. So we just wanted to give you something to take away from this afternoon, that you can direct companies, your organizations who are participating, and your young people to go to immediately to actually begin the process of connecting them, helping them get both paid and unpaid internships, and continuing the process of Champions of Change. So with that, thank you.